Things I want. The missing me, the residual thoughts of this idealizing. That's a short lived for the 15 minutes of heaven I can find to burn to be free. Stay there, lie down for the tunnel for the tube. Hold a conversation, kinda quiet place. Or this ghost in your hands be a lie, collapse, this thunder, but this false and cinematic. Sweating in the violin, the cradle for the movement, but the knees are hitting the top. Or father for the divine, you would dream. Curiosity for the here is this with me. Like the dust of the wind, filling up the spirit for the liquid gold, and often dust 100 of the sun. For this, whatever to give it the shadow for the knife that you wanted to be holy love. Nothing lasts forever, meaningless in this value for the type, the human form, for the seed, the silence, the stars, the yellow corn, for death you find light, for this ever dim. Honor rather than the wealth of the stories to tell, the for the lies to sell, the supported for the unseen energy. Images of this imagination, man's mind, for the spirit out you can find entire. Anthony. Things I want. The mystic me, the residual thoughts of this idealizing. That's a short lived for the 15 minutes of heaven I can find to burn to be free. Stay there, lie down for the tunnel for the tube. Hold a conversation, kinda quiet place. This ghost in your hands be a lie, collapse this thunder, but this false and this and that. Things I want. The mystic me, the residual thoughts of this idealizing. That's a short lived for the 15 minutes of heaven I can find the bird to be free. Stay there, lie down for the tunnel for the tube. Hold a conversation, kinda quiet place. This ghost in your hands be a lie, collapse this thunder, but this false and cinematic. Swelling in the violin, the cradle for the movement, but the knees are hitting the top. Father for the divine, your dream. Curiosity for the here is this with me. Like the dust of the wind, filling up the spirit for the liquid gold, and often dust 100 of the sun. For this, whatever to give in the shadow for the knife that you wanted to be holy love. And that's forever meaningless in this value for the type, the human form, for the seed, the silence, and the stalk, the yellow corn, for death you find light, it is ever dim. Honor rather than the wealth of the stories to tell, the death of the lies to sell, the supported for the unseen energy. Images of this imagination, man's mind, for the spirit out you can find in time. Intelligence for the bathing over the making over the ancestor spirits, it is to be the avenue for the long understanding the pain. Seen and not seen the spirit that fallen further over the rolling off the sea for the rolling and sounding over the latch the key for the onyx and the terminal. Absorbing in philosophy for the gatekeeping the words and lyrics and the muse of this liars and buried but seen. Remembering until the rays of the creativity for the washed up into the sea for the shores and just defining what's surely ever the lady to make the waters wait. Farther away I go. Stay here enough flow this calm this leads outside of it where they're living in a society called the normal. And the thoughtless whisper for the without you no longer dream but the pretty for the brain to wrap into the business that without you I'm starved for the bone but deserving of the loneliness and I can find this to be the exodus. Pen shaped to the distant light for what the dance of the stars when I find the blue to straight the light for this to blue the stars drowning in the frost. Who needs to dance with the stars when my feet draped to the tire to come out for the utility for the night for the draw the moon, the mother moon for this to be the sun, the day, the lava for the time to start the earth revolving. Watch how the humanity progressively evolves just to take the empowerment of things. This is feeling better than you existed of. You can slowly burn. Watching the face melt for the too close to close, being glued too close to fame for this flame, this satellite for to take the slow drift down. Death beyond the nexus of it is being back. Invisible wall for the open up of the deep for the private humor over the room for the rain turn. This in the middle of the nothing in the everlasting flattening of the zen. You ask me the question, expect me to respond for the time that you have the mistaken entitlement for the strength for the when they give the beat. Soul, mind, and out to find a vital great for the use of cosmic floor for you hand disability for the breathing over your vacuum, the grasp of your dear life. Sure that for the just illusion for the power abilities for the removing of the grasp of the humans and weird humanities in the taking time. Venus came to unable to breathe the poison for the higher for the forms of humanity for the beauty sensibility for the picking up a sword for the shield, learn some word, master skill, the time, space, this giving up at the time for the voice echo for your void and never arriving in another face. Trained with the trees, with our human hearts this help to find the dark. Cold crafted slept to the trees and this too long for the bunk open your car shelf, this traveling over the lands and traveling over the planets and this will be the alchemy can make up. last time to find a guest to blame on my end for this even sorry for yours. And this is for Daffy, never to realize how loved I was. This is the fear for the never the moment to feel the chosen, and for the sacred secret that there's a risk to be life to keep. Lay next to me, and then you at your own. To arrive and engross this and easy to turn the path. This dead I choose constantly to make another one with me. Versions of the wrestling and the period, but for the dreams like filled with the reeds of this, be the feeling and alignment for this religious body. To sleep, to scare, shadows of the moon, shaking, unbothered, risen for the pulling of rights and reasons, cling up to the yetness all, loss of power for the control, the grip, this breaking off the habits of the hope, the end, rolling over the thunder for the lightning and the dim, and leaving in wonder for the audacious grin. I remember women and not low love for the finance to call for this to build it over the rotten thing that the whole of the turning of the pages started to empty. Brief sensation of society, anxiety for this society, worth the risk of this house, fire for this from the inside, for the desperate for you, fear for this fire. Ways of being numb, but forgetting until you're dumb enough to be the always worth it. That's a reap the good and be for this. I have any idea for the never put me down. Just lay at the bottom for the watching the last like this, which better like the love. Caretakers for the care, for the over the ground to find the your heart's land shaped like a spiral through the dove, the boom, the call. Her name means something you could find others to behave. To be a healer for the simply, give waterfall for them to feel. Empty houses to tram the doors. Or the touching of the beer cans will find an inhaling of smoke for the beat barrier. Where they're hiking up the beach, just the aging jagged over the jetty, over the walking, over the belt of vein for this to out of reach, this place of the lighthouse, this bathe the slice of the open sea, the beam cuts through the space between you and me for the own. Or your heart's land shaped like a spiral through the dove, the boom, the call. Her name means something you could find others to behave. To be a healer for the simply, give them waterfall for them to feel. Empty houses to trim the doors. Or the touching of the beer cans will find an inhaling of smoke for the beat barrier. Where they're hiking up the beach, just an ancient jagged over the jetty, over the walking, over the belt of vein for this to out of reach, this place of the lighthouse, this bathe a slice of the open sea, the beam cuts to the space between you and me for the own. Damaging of the head for the sparing and the arm for the no one can see. Terrific, this will be the reminder for your conquering inner life. This is all the garden of the two moons. Forgotten forest between the mountains and the sea, for there was a walk to garden for the time that didn't flow as it did in the world beyond. And the garden living in woman for the deep and knowing, for this was born under the whisper of falling stars, and this the moon weather for the had been a great healer. Softened but not that Spanish. Manage never to hear the wind speaks, this is the name of the strange tones. This is find between them, then you can find a river that had one strong disc curled beneath the earth for this. Forgotten something precious long ago. On the chest where the shadow lived. And I see you. With each alternative step of your face, it cracks and hug I need it. Shift the quiet and rearrange the decision made the silence of the night for who am I for the left of the building for the drive the cross and let the cross of the further form of first the faith is where this rain apologies and I don't wash away the rain the stain the beg for the life of the innocent night for the cane for the dimming of the own life that you can have the throwing away yourself. I can run through my legs see weak arms and numb but this the blow for this and when in my mind often sometimes roll for this the falling and I can follow the light for this the earth for the ceiling in the garden for the cedar for the hammer for the blossoms sit across the way. Yes, she meant it for the closed eyes, blood lapping over the shores of the soul. With this heart of mine, ever be the alleviating and the suffocating away for the heart for the mind. Your effort fits the hitting the wall of bricks as you can have a note with the boat for the door. Never define the hour for the being the commitment. When the winds hurried over the violent grace into soul without a mate. The stormy days at the deepest of the depths of hell for the came back together for the because of love for the ever defining animal for the back for the slowly moving of the storm for the holy night for the you can come down for the hold the day to hum the radiating pitch of the softening of the beam overhead. Let us the bird right and I'm immersed. Ever the breathing back into the pleasure to getting out of my mind for the back of the time for the bed for the day for the water for the where the real is they held each other for the love to be patiently and for the passion. because of the ignorance and I may need a helping hand. Between the sheets of the cocoon, so gently over where you've been for the violent life to start for the day without the morning and a yearning. Burning desire for the thought you ignite my core for the flaming of the burns and the cry out and more for this for the stars that light in the midnight sky. Swallow the hours for the silent ride for the space of hunger over you, nowhere to hide for the dissolving of the two, the deep, and this is where that you sleep, this to let you embrace this world to linger for the put it true, stitching new for the crunch time. Our duty for the giving, emotion for the motionless, and the gifts of the river we were given the land, and leaving the people through the key for the whisper into the fantasy for this is where the mist of this shadows play. In the void, any cry, reading over the crashing of the past of the cosmic size of your cross, the twilight skies, this stars are the line for the tension to the pure and your final brother for the feet. All consuming your first and there's something left to take care for you, like a final blood, just love. In the perfect distance, trying to shrink the thought for the bridge over the whispers, raw for soft, for those awake and aching cracks at the heart to refine. Wasted potential for the all could have been, but never will it be the beast. Something I refuse to forget. Morning you stretch, half asleep, face the melody for the playful keeps, but it's not as bold as you thought. Or think that this to be the crowd, for this to honor time, for this to be the sky's word, for honor was disappointed for the sleepiness too, for this love bouquet whispers secrets to mine. Yes, you're so time is near, darling. No need to steer to go away, forgive the first of this to make the trip and not regret for this. The setting of the shallows is there, but the settling of it doesn't when you find the realms of this where you spin in the depths of the oceans. And the secret turns soft to rain where the silence goes. The cell return for the essence of you for the night. Raveling of the soul for the world we walk the line, the rain remember you. Silhouettes of the half, the dream to this the half, the months on this the half. You have one or two fetched this, the storm, the blooming, and the testing, the battles, the spirit of grace. I was to give room for the learning, for the sturdy, the selfless, and within the reach, and this in front of the word this went back to me, for this to be the faithful friend, wrapping myself. Chaos in the horizon. Loveless nights and I toss and turn, disturbing thoughts whirling around me. Lost in desolate dreamland, tormented by the loneliness and the world closes on me. Leaving me closer to chaos, which is all around me, so I see it so vividly, for it destroys my reality. And the dark has me trapped in the claws, and the light has me banned, and I'm seeking a vessel for the plug into the seafloor. Final pit stop before no more agony for the distrust, there's no more doormat for that, become me for the floating soul, for the nomad, for the afterlife, for the definition of freedom. The lonely lilacs, this wandering road with no windows down. The lilac hunter for the softest slide, and no fence porch or watch for town for the blossoms and nodding the sky. Step a stem for the quiet glee. Gift for the hands and the vase of smile. They bloom for none and bloom for me. So I keep watch mile after mile, not stealing and setting free. Fragrant bitter to passer by, for the sunflowers crave a little spree for the chance to wilt beneath the sigh. For my postpartum friend, for this to be the distant memory soon, for the one to take body, for the witches to sticky war rounds, wounds, sleepy eyes that lay you down, for the most delicate, for the fabrics that made no silk, maybe linen, too wrinkly, maybe just too bad for soft grass in an open field, for above the cliff somewhere that you can feel the sun in the heart. You hear the goals or the smell of the air, for just a brief moment, for the remember that there's a whole world out there waiting over your return. There's no man on earth more faithful than God. There's no man on earth that was sitting
where I ran to lose the world, this world.
Where I ran to lose the world, this world, with this road led back to where I stand with the discipline for the devoting heart, for the children, for the gentlemen, for the walk of the smooth, for the secret breeze, and the eye locked in the mind, for the calm of the sea, and ease of the seesaw, for this to be the persuasive of the flamingos between your legs and distance. Moses Ryder saying things and how we saw it in wombs. Incredible how the perception could be. In the beginning, and express the feelings in the bottled up. Without the writer to say this for the thinner for the over another sheet. But the love knows that it's just the way it goes. So this and all the thought and how much I could save for the left behind the chest of the felt. From the time of the bones that tried to climb back this society, nobody even survives with the biological for the broken nail underneath the counter holes of the sea. The teeth of the brazens that across the face, to the silence of the duty that don't say a word for the lost once again, for you don't say a word. This dawn breaks once more light. The sun's rays no longer night, and the broken in the modern song, to the core for the beliefs that there was us all. With the edges of my thoughts of the world next to you, for the side by side, never touching the foolishness when they're taking hold back to the future. I can find a root and this is say, find a reservoir for the water, for the stench, for the exit, for the nags. Just find it good to me in many ways. You never laid a figure when you can find an imprint for the soul, for the your words and the hooker, but the culture for the negative body, for the over the pride and pain. Starvation for the toiling, for the taking, for the answer, for the poor. Out for the problems and complaints, and you find that this is psychopathic. You find friendship, this dandelion to stay. And I had of a hurricane for this fur to find a wind to become. Easily you blew away for this to make it to the epitaph. But do you weep with your tears and just a drape? But over the wrist of this ink soap for the blood, for the ride, cry, together for another life, for the place and often go for this the world away, for the spirits to know. And the pieces to stir for the wandering there, for to become anything but anyone anywhere, for the even within the chaos and underneath all distractions, for the constant struggles of the incomplete objectives of the worried about and charged and clean slate, common, clean, find everything you always wanted, everything you thought. Watch the butterfly float across the time, floated with the breeze and the fluttering, and when the wind kicked up at the tube right there, I could find the larger heads and this find the discomfort in. And the lonely town looks different you were. The people you talk to, but they don't know the story. It was just an anti-Semitism for this a house of worship for you can be within the strength in me for this, and maybe I was smart for this for a while now. Sacrifice this would have been a moment of day for the watch and the ocean to kiss the sky, for the tides that quickly rose, or this to define that there the sand, for this the fate that came gently, or the fate stood the shorter, for the foaming and dancing and fireflies to weave in and out of the trees, at the releasing electricity for the just to be the night sky, quitting and I find it easy each time. Don't look at me for the mirrors and don't think I can find the judgment today. Don't look at it, I'm live, but it can't control my temper for the emotions and never to find it flaring, and for the dead, for the storm, but never to tell, for the dense and oppressive, for the draping the cliffs and the manner, for the just to be the burial shroud, for the silent field, the sea fell silent. In the misty old meet, this what used to lie. I am found amidst the oath to find the terms and conditions for the invisible, for the chaos, and you need to comfort them on their own vanishment. And what was given the sign time to catch the reflection, for the petals and air, for the final all was deceived, and the seasons for the not producing, even if leave the tree for the bud, for this a little rest in the bit of sun, for there ever somewhere to pour out myself, for the soil is good, for that you can see the visible, for the random blooms that just are not random at all. And then many have time to find the time to lane, brother. The bosom for the Bible to give the last is a certain anything but grow for the something it always does, and this learn to look back. Now reminiscent for the confirm, and the amount of pouring and the diggering for the burning of the rain, for this to be the evidence of what was given and not to be. Okay, you tell me what to do. I promise, not for all, but I love. Endure for the bound, for the barb, for the bidding, these sands of the pen of the place. This is the remaining of the sword through the chest and hands, and why I find can you understand for each other, right? Brief interaction for the luring of faction. This love acting, playing a part for the being the character, for the honoring the character, for the it's all a part of the game. And the way you love it, it doesn't evolve with abandoning for the parts of that for the you don't want to see for the hope of such a way that it exists. Unbreakable for the threads run through, invisible for the unbreakable, for the graphic, for the instance, for the thought you wouldn't make it. Power to power to empower. Throughout the history, there's been movements and empower the people to make Son of King, building up the dreams and the puzzle pieces you'll see. Before the Avengers, incredible life this to be the five time quantity for the being brief. This you are that hour for the yard work for the poor, come forth the poor me after that it fall. And the deaths and darkness of the time. Tatter for the shrink, for the forgetting and the flutter, for the couldn't remember the purpose of the existence, for the beginning of the life as you can find came to be.
Thresholds of the heart. Bird with so many uncentered desires, whatever the evil or good ones that you can find, it couldn't make it the final destination for you. Words like the part for the master, for the grafting, the graphic, hieroglyphic, scientific, for the predictive, for the only heavenly grand transcripts that's visible for the sun. Intentions. All of that for the counter, for the spaceship, or whatever the family planet even. For the more advantage for your source of the high classification for your data, for the possibility for the overthrowing it all, for the ancient expression for the tooling existence, and the words that are like the part of the name. The fridge hums a quiet warning to the remembering of footsteps of the dappling in the sunlight for what you remain. Behold abandoned, such as life it had been. Cold enough to walk down the crooked code for the silence of the story, for the never told, for the night back, stars out of line, the glass ceiling and the fears that don't feel become. Limitations for the ruling and asking someone to stay. And returning to yourself. And the warmth of the sunlight after the shivering in the desert of cave. The sight for the life and the visible voice that echoed the ready to roar. The line of truth, the grief and enticed and undesired. Unknown, envy, joy to the bone for the wrath of the blind eye consumes the heart. Slots whisper the rest of the bandit decline for the gluttony of the feasting or the forgetting time for the burning of the fast and the fleeting flame for the seven shadows of the hunting of my name. An unseen horror for cursed edges of the night for the silence that thicken your breath and not your own. Walls lean near every step that multiplies dark. A vanishing act for the quieter. When even the walls stop listening for the ceiling that doesn't judge me and your voices talking to each other for none of them makes sense. This is for the half, that this is not, that doesn't matter for anymore. For the best of the mistakes back to you, for the only voice screams back for this is signing for you, for the own regrets, for forgetting how to breathe, for this to vanish, for how to survive, for the noise of the stare at the trees and never the stare at the water, for this to be the fire, for the pretending of the flames and the demons inside of your chest, for this to argue with yourself. The voice within, never be without. Another last for the tribe, for another, for the untitled. Reading every day for the youth, you can find the price of the glee. Possessed by the humankind, for the present, for the coexisting, for the echoes of the hunting at every step. But this is all fragments of heaven, for this heaven and one to claim, for the only broad life that slips through the hands, and the life that is truly one to live, for the passing through, for the caressing, carrying over the outliving of me. For the knowing and to save our souls of the heaven, for the truth, for this to find the day, for the time, for the comes, for the scripts of the bread, and what's ringing throughout the lands of the sun, for the this will be the moon, for the merging of the one, for the earth, for the returning to none, for the innocent out of you, for the knowledge of the lost, for the high to climb and silence yourself, for the big pain will cost us, we walk. Mirror strapped to the cage, fuel for the burnt exhaust, and the knowing and the unknown, the end of the day, and the fear for the inner self, for the sitting with the everyday, for the this to be the raw undone. Look at the sea for them what you see, or now for the drowning, for the ripe, for the reap, for the room, for the each person, for the strolling of the green, for the blue planet, for the flapping of the moon, for the final poke. 10. Wait, but she was the wonder wind for the singing through my thoughts. Tender, sting, breaking up the arc, delving apart for the waking, this finest dream. Endless, and there's nothing good for this God to be a piece of cake for never been eaten for the Sunday night thought. Trust, sideway compass of your daylight tell the room. Quiet, honest, version of yourself, not to hate for the warm winds. Stole a sticker here for the choking on it, for the underneath, for the butterscotch and the lies, and something surprisingly similar. Similar for the one with the hope to disappoint and neglect, need for the life of it. Beautiful before the time that you got me, for the title of the stars, but similar for the eternal thing, for the memory over the reinstating over the what you find the best mix. Can't retreat without the natural deed. Feeling to find the whip is not alone for the new one. It's not for the breaking into the rhythm of the seeding of the tears and entrapping yourself with the energy of the endlessly. Realize the time to mind transform. Slapping at the times with the laughter stitch for the head. Both of us. Every picture for the healing, taking sleep in the best I should.
Explore enough, felt like this was I know I doing my voice this good, I'm strong and truly feel it to the chest and oh to this guys are phonic me that jump for the chair for the door for the door for the door for the two but the plain and sight but this is binary with the effort with the life but this is all that I can be the polarity for the light explore enough, felt like this was I know I doing my voice this good, I'm strong and truly feel it to the chest and oh to this guys are phonic me that jump for the chair for the door for the door for the door for the two but the plain and sight but this is binary with the effort with the life but this is all that I can be the polarity for the light to go out and whimper the finding the struggle the humorous whispers of the tickle of the eardrum make up the universe for the I made up my mind I can find fool so absolute to believe the diamond craft of the space dust for the solar flares it was never negotiable we start with the night sky for the breath of the chest this the pull of the black hole for the finding of the door to enter for the notifying of the chance to stop the retribution of the genocide for the declared upon the every man deal dare deny fate place shadows amongst miss fate deemed rays should shimmer liberty to make up the universe. We made up a mind for the woman over the gloom. I can see the meaning time. I'm the shine of the life of the running. Good life of the both of you and not. It's always the jealousy of the clean body. Over the connecting pieces. Gaze at the tracks. Hello, volume high, peace, nothing to prove. Nobody but ones who left it. This is the one who stayed. The accident chambers. Soft now, not because I'm afraid that the peace moves quieted the storm that I came through. Used to bleed, but just believe it. Used to crack the voice to master someone else's echo for the silence of due to speak. For this, the hand steady for the circle small, for joy unannounced and growth that doesn't always shout. Healing with the always poetic for the pieces that sometimes it was to choose and to respond. Nothing really to have to be what to say. I was never quite the villain anyway. They're just the one painted out to be for this the art for others to be the person that playing the I can find the lover's refrain. The poem together. Your fingers and your wicked tongue the pen. Savor each letter for the we trace. Upon the vision was in willing flesh, with the rocking hips and decision, the hunger grip and providing your motive for flow together with the perfect dance and this the most defining golden lights. Understand that awkwardness has become racing your arms. Speak it sweet, nose. Echoes with the trembling voice of the sound of the refrain. Grow with the intensity for the ever repetition for the soul of the eye. Divine and cool and cadence of your lips and then teach. The teeth mark the full stops, your eyes are color for the passion, slowly drops the amber for this to be the muse. A sweet thing cannot be yours. It is divine striving, it is striving, it is striving, subscribe, and you're correct. You will be as in when you kiss. Oh, like this was. I know I doing my voice this good. I'm strong and truly feel it to the chest and oh to this. The guys are fine and green. I jump for the chair, for the door, for the door, for the door, for the two, but the plain in sight. For this is binary, for the effort, but the come through life. For this is all that I can be. The celebrity for the light to go out. The one word that find and construct. And the humor.
Felt like stepping, constantly reliable, but needed, easily forgotten on the path before.
Felt like stepping, constantly reliable, but needed, easily forgotten on the path before. Your love, rotten to the core, take me back to who you were before. Your love, want to door for the apple, see no more for life, for that, for the temper, for the force and taste of this and forbidden fruit, for this and tickle, for the silence and this of you. Separate for the supper, for the kitchen, for the sight, for the will, the love, for the cry, find the sins, this is the game, but you win. Sweet for the you mustn't take a bite for the zip, for the rendering, over the reaching, over the cost of the sin, the bite, for this, the made the door, the garden, for this is the one, final agony, for the love, ups and downs, alive, cries, and cries, and cries, for this is the drowning bird, for the you name, for the bird, the grass, for the air, for the you guys, for the why, for the why, the why, the right, for this is cool, the silence in the word. I act better now, let out, so the fun is to think through the shape of you and silence for the bullish. This is no doubt for the evil leave for the dancing age, and now for the tabletop of your show, and over the serve of the shape beneath the breath. There's something in me for the tightness and the throat. But the never the scientist with the type of faceless. The dwelling in my memory with you, and I cannot be blamed. And I saw through the rose-colored lens in which sun and with soil swiftly smeared into the familiar fuzzy swarm. Find a vision with a blurred mind. This deadly, remember the gently caressing over what you have is there to the empty sign. Hues beauty had the pygmies gently and never known for the bleeding of the founders, for the drafting, for the posts and jewels and find this empty monster in the closet under the bed where the shadows lie. Find the draft of God's word that sounded like prayer. Mindless for day, for the night, for the wait, for the give, for the hear me, for the manipulation, for the feeling in me, for the secret falling again, for the sin, for the pleading over the it's not obvious and uncomfortable enough for the everything between this and passion driven. That newly rational, for the suffocating get purpose. I'm finding this before the confession for the monster avenue. Blue hush for the infinite, follow the shadows of breath from the deep of the word that you find a tree. Cut up for the color can for the fill of the chemical, for the thoughts of this more sensible, for the questions and murmur, for the cynical, for the effort, the go, for the hiding of the crazy, and the never the finding into the man of it, for the reminder of the skin. Rain, weakness, and your steps, and this and close the father, for the over the in between, for the handing go, for the something you're feeling behind it, ever the me, for the just to be the handing over the comparison, like over the killer, over the confessing, over the respond. Yearning and the simply yearning over the infinite, for the indefinitely, for the been a long time, for the I can see the fence, this is not the devil, the middle, for the real, for the here, for the never, the desperate pulse of the tempting, booming.